Hey YouTube, my name is Nick, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing two features of the Easy Flash Omega Definitive Edition GBA flash cartridge, and how it can allow you to use two underutilized features on the Nintendo DS. Those being, firstly, RAM expansion, and secondly, being rumble functionality. So in order to take advantage of these two features of the Easy Flash Omega, the first thing you have to do is insert it either into a DS or a Game Boy Advance, and then you'll want to power on the console. On the DS, make sure to select Start GBA Game. And my bumpers on this DS are kind of flawed, so it might be a little bit difficult, but you want to press the right bumper 3 times until you get to this screen with the little RGB symbol here. And what you want to do is you want to go to this option and change it from Link, because this is what it will be set to by default. And you want to set it to whichever functionality you'll need. But for the start of this video, we're going to just begin with RAM. And we're going to set this to OK. And then you want to shut off your console, pull out your flash cartridge, and then on the side of it, there's this little notch here, or this little switch, that you can adjust using something small like a toothpick. And what you want to do is you want to move it from this default position, where it should be, into this upper position. And what this will do is that it will tell the DS that it has an option pack inserted. So if I were to put this into my DS now and turn it on, and so as you can see, the DS now recognizes it as an option pack. And that does not mean that this totally disables the functionality of the flash cart. All you have to do is flip that switch back and then it should be back to normal. But now I'll show you what you could do with more RAM for the Nintendo DS. So first and foremost, the number one thing that Nintendo intended their users to use the RAM expansion for was for the Nintendo DS browser, which basically allowed their users to browse the internet on their Nintendo DS. And so you might be wondering, how viable would this be in 2026? And truthfully, I mean, it's not great, because obviously the DS is using a very old Wi-Fi connection standard. It doesn't even support WPA1. You can only use it with WEP security, which I believe can be cracked in like under 5 minutes or something like that. And so in order to get this set up and working in 2026, I actually have my DS connected to my Wi-Fi hotspot on my phone. And so when I hit go, I have to have my Wi-Fi hotspot unsecure, because otherwise it doesn't work. But if I search, for example, here, the old net, it should work. And as you can see, there's this little progress bar up here. And there you go. If I were to press this go button, it would actually show Nintendo.com from 1996. I actually said let's go with 2001. Let's see what they had on the GameCube maybe. Again, we have this page loading here. And there you go. Welcome to Nintendo.com. So believe it or not, I am actually browsing, albeit an archived version of the internet. And of course, it's kind of broken. Oh, was that Melee? Did I see Super Smash Bros. There? I think I saw Super Smash Bros. There. Yeah, Melee, right there. Although, yes, it's kind of broken. The fact that this even works is just pretty cool. Would you use this on a daily basis? Definitely not. But it's pretty neat to see that this does in fact work. And again, you would need this flash card or an official RAM expansion add-on for the GBA slot, which again, you can only use on the Nintendo DS models and not on the DSi, for example, because it didn't have the slot 2 cartridge slot. But also it didn't need it because it had the enhanced RAM in it already. But of course, you know, the DSi doesn't have backwards compatibility. So this was kind of the main reason for this RAM expansion. But there are, of course, other things you can do with this now in 2026. So let me show you those, actually. So with the help of a flash cart, as you can see, you can actually play Quake on the Nintendo DS. It takes a second, but there you go. We got Quake running on my Nintendo DS. You aim using the touchscreen. You shoot using the left trigger, but again, my triggers on this DS are kind of not very cooperative, we will say. There you go. So yeah, left triggers to shoot. You aim by moving the touchscreen. And yeah, that's Quake 1 running on the DS, which is pretty dang cool. I'm obviously not going to play through this whole thing. This is a very impractical way to play Quake, but it's pretty cool that this even works in the first place. And again, this requires, well, actually in this case, not just the RAM expansion, but also a flashcart, and obviously a copy of Quake 1 or the shareware version like I have here. Pretty neat. And the other really, really cool thing that you can do with this is, believe it or not, but you can actually emulate Super Nintendo games on the Nintendo DS with a RAM expansion card. Is it perfect? No. But it's very, very impressive. So as you can see, I have Earthbound here up on my DS, and it works. The audio is not perfect, but this is very, very playable. I even tried F-Zero, and yeah, again, the audio wasn't perfect, but like it glitched out even here and there a little bit, graphically speaking, but the fact that it could even run F-Zero at a relatively playable frame rate was quite impressive. So that's another really neat feature, because one would think like it would not be possible to play SNES games on a DS, but alas, here we are. And so you get the gist of it, but that's Earthbound running on the DS. And so now I'm going to move on to the other feature that this flashcart can do, and that would be the rumble functionality in some DS games. So to reverse the process to enable rumble functionality, we'll have to go into that same menu that we accessed before to turn on the RAM feature. And we first start off by flicking this back to the normal position. And then we access that third screen in the GBA flashcart and pick RAM instead of, or we pick rumble instead of RAM. There we go. So we're going to go down one and then select rumble and select OK. But before I show you the rumble functionality in Custom Mobile Arena, we have to first set this back to the add-on option for the flashcart. So here's Custom Mobile Arena. I was in the middle of a tournament, and so when I step onto this plate and begin to battle, the rumble, you can feel it when you fire some weapons from your custom robo. I'll bring it close to the, I'll bring the cartridge close to the microphone so you can actually hear the rumble. I have the drill gun on. If I use it, you may have even heard it just now, like on the table. It plays when you fire your weapon. It's pretty subtle. I do not have bombs because my left and right triggers are a little bit messed up. But as you can see, it is working. I was too far away. There we go. Piece of cake. I also tried the rumble functionality in Metroid Prime Hunters and Metroid Prime Pinball, I think it's called. And in those games, well, in Pinball, it kind of just worked by like every time it hit the bumpers or you flicked it, it rumbled. And in Prime Hunters, it rumbles in cutscenes, and I think when you fire some type of shots. I can't exactly remember, but I tested this out yesterday, and I thought this was really, really cool. And so this was something I just wanted to show off here on the channel, because I figured these two features are something that people may not really be too familiar with. I mean, I myself didn't even learn of this until I remembered that this was one of the advertised features of this flashcart. So that's pretty much the end of this video. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.